My name is Grace Thompson. I am 15 years old, from Seattle, Washington.
I almost died, hit by someone I had cyberbullied. 7 minutes gone, and in that darkness, I saw everything I had done wrong. My name is Grace Thompson. I am 15 years old, from Seattle, Washington. I died for 7 minutes, and it changed everything. I thought I knew about myself, about God, about life. I remember the exact moment. My chest felt like it had been crushed under 100 weights. My vision blurred. My heart stopped beating, and the world I knew vanished. In that silence, I felt everything. The guilt, the envy, the pride, all laid bare. I had always thought I was a good Christian girl. I was active in youth group. I posted Bible verses on my social media. People said I was kind, obedient, and faithful. I volunteered at church events, helped organize bake sales, even led small prayer groups for younger kids. Outwardly, I looked perfect, but that day, as I hovered between life and death, God showed me something I could not hide from any longer. Beneath the posts, beneath the smiles, beneath the prayers I whispered online, there was envy, bitterness, secret judgments I had never confessed. I had ignored promises, hurt friends with subtle words, and silently judged those who seemed weaker than me. And in those 7 minutes, I could not run from it. I could not pretend. I could not even breathe. I remember the hospital lights flickering in my mind's eye, the distant sound of sirens and paramedics shouting my name. Yet it all felt unreal, as if my soul had stepped into a place outside time. I felt every tiny regret pulse like a warning, every hidden sin reflected back at me with perfect clarity. I do not know how to explain the fear that gripped me. It was not fear of dying alone. It was the fear of standing before God with a heart so small, so hidden, so dishonest. I realized outward faith, no matter how visible, meant nothing if the heart remained untouched. Before that day, my life seemed perfect. Every smile, every post, every prayer seemed enough. I thought I had it all together. I thought God was pleased with me. But lying there, seeing the truth of my own heart, I knew I was far from ready. And then, everything began to change. Before that day, my life seemed normal. I lived in Seattle with my parents, who went to church on Sundays but rarely spoke about faith at home. They wanted the best for me: good grades, good friends, a safe life. They believed church attendance was enough to make someone good. I did not know then that good outward appearances mean nothing if the heart is not changed. I started going to youth group on my own, around age 12. I liked the songs, the stories, the sense of belonging. I learned a few Bible verses, memorized them, shared them online. People told me I was a sweet, polite, and responsible girl. I liked the recognition. I liked feeling righteous. School life was busy. I worked hard, made friends, and posted carefully curated moments on social media. Bible verses, inspirational quotes, smiling selfies. Everyone seemed to like me. Teachers praised my behavior. Friends called me dependable. Strangers probably assumed my life was perfect. But behind the photos, behind the comments, the truth was different. I envied friends' achievements. I resented those who seemed to have it easier. I judged classmates for their mistakes, while convincing myself I was above such faults. I carried quiet grudges against my older brother, who always seemed to get more attention from mom and dad. Even youth group was not immune. I prayed sometimes, but often just because I thought it was expected. I wanted to look faithful, to appear humble, to belong, more than I wanted God's truth to change me. I would smile, post verses, volunteer to help younger kids, but inside there was jealousy, irritation, and pride I refused to face. I hid these feelings well. No one could see them, and I hoped God could not either. I told myself that as long as I tried, it was enough. But secretly, I knew I was living a mask of perfection, and living behind that mask made me feel small, restless, and empty. Looking back, I can see the cracks forming even then. Every small lie, every hidden judgment, every quiet resentment was a thread in a web I could not escape. And those threads would pull me straight to the moment I almost died. Before that day, I thought I was fine. I thought my life, my faith, my image were enough. But the truth was buried deep, waiting for a moment to break through, and that moment came sooner than I expected. Before that day, I carried secrets no one knew, small offenses, but they weighed heavily in my heart. The first crack came with social media. I had seen a post from a friend celebrating a win I wanted for myself. I commented something funny but cruel. It was subtle, almost invisible, but it was me hiding envy behind a joke. I thought she would never notice, but God noticed. The second crack was a promise I had broken. My best friend was struggling. Her father was sick, her grades slipping, her heart heavy. She asked me to pray for her. I nodded, said I would, and then I did nothing. I thought it was enough that I intended to, but intention does not equal action. The guilt of that unkept promise festered quietly inside me. The third crack, the hardest, was my pride. I judged friends, classmates, even youth group members. I noticed every small mistake they made. I whispered criticisms in my mind, smiled when they faltered, and thought I was better because I knew better. I told myself I was just noticing what needed correcting, but deep down, it was selfish. Each offense alone might have been bearable, but together, they formed a weight I could not carry. I prayed sometimes, but my prayers were half-hearted, like a mask I wore to appear faithful. I tried to forgive, but I had never truly confessed. I had never truly humbled myself. These cracks grew quietly, hidden from everyone. They whispered in the corners of my heart, reminding me that I was not as good as I pretended to be. I could feel them tightening like invisible chains, binding me to guilt, pride, and fear. And then came the day that would change everything. The day when those hidden sins would not remain hidden. The day when every mask, every hidden offense, every unspoken thought would be revealed, not to my friends, not to my parents, but to God. I did not know it yet, but I was about to face the consequences of every small crack in my life. I was about to see what happens when the heart is weighed against God's truth, and I was about to die, for 7 minutes. I remember exactly what happened, though part of me wishes I could forget. That day started like any other. The sun was bright over Seattle, birds chirping, the faint smell of roasted coffee from the corner cafe lingering in the air. I had spent the morning scrolling through my phone, laughing at memes, liking posts, and judging. One of my classmates had posted a video about a friend I had once mocked online, and I had commented subtle, sarcastic, nothing big. I told myself it was harmless, but the truth was, it was cruel. I biked down the familiar streets of my neighborhood, earbuds in, music blasting softly. I thought about the youth group meeting later, and which Bible verse I would post that afternoon. I felt distracted, restless. My heart carried a tension I could not name. Then I saw him, not someone I recognized at first, but then I did. It was the boy I had cyberbullied months ago. He had confronted me online, quietly, but I had ignored him. And now, he was walking along the sidewalk, looking straight at me. Panic and guilt surged through me. I tried to swerve to avoid him, but I misjudged the curb. Time slowed. My front wheel hit the edge of the street. I lost control, and then the impact, like a thunderclap against my chest. Pain exploded. I could hear screaming, my own voice somewhere far away, and the screech of tires. I felt my body lift, then slam to the asphalt. I remember the world tilting, blood rushing in my ears, and then, nothing. I was dead. I do not remember the exact moment my heart stopped, only the emptiness that followed. I felt weightless. My body was broken, sprawled on the pavement, paramedics running toward me, shouting my name. I could hear the faint whirring of sirens and the ambulance lights reflecting off the wet street, but I was outside it all. I was neither here nor there, suspended between life and what I could not name. In that void, every secret, every hidden thought, every cruel word I had typed on a screen, all of it came back to me. I saw them clearly, the people I had hurt, the friends I had ignored, the classmates I had judged. I saw how tiny offenses became a web of consequence, and I felt shame, deep, piercing shame, that made me tremble. I heard voices, paramedics' calm commands, the mother of a neighbor screaming, my own name repeated over and over. I sensed hands on my body, CPR, chest compressions, defibrillator paddles shocking my chest. Monitors beeped frantically. Someone shouted, "We have a pulse," then silence, then chaos again. I tried to move, but my body was gone. My mind floated above the ambulance, above the hospital, and I saw my own broken frame on the stretcher, blood spreading on the asphalt like a dark stain. Nurses worked frantically in Harborview Medical Center, alarms blaring, IV lines inserted, oxygen masks pressed to my face. I panicked. I realized all my hidden sins, all the envy, all the pride, all the judgment, had followed me here. I felt unworthy of life. I felt God's eyes on me, seeing everything I had tried to hide. A voice whispered, not loud, not audible, but inside me, "Do you see now?" I nodded, though I had no body to move. The world shifted again. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls, flickers of light, silence, then a warmth, soft and overwhelming, began to envelop me. My fear deepened. What awaited me? Would I be condemned for every cruel word, every broken promise, every act of pride? I tried to cling to life, to will my body to move, to breathe, but I felt it slipping. My spirit felt drawn upward, leaving the broken shell behind. I saw glimpses of streets, people rushing past, but it all felt distant, unreal. My thoughts were clear, piercing, full of regret. Then, a presence. I could not see it clearly, only sense it, loving, powerful, judging, yet merciful. It beckoned, and I felt my fear and shame collide with awe and longing. I hovered at the threshold. The sirens, the hospital, the monitors, they faded. My body was gone. And in that moment, I realized I was standing on the edge of eternity. I was about to cross into something I could never fully describe, something that would change me forever. I do not know how to describe the moment I saw him. 1 second, I was suspended in emptiness. The next, a light brighter than anything I had ever seen, filled every corner of my vision. It was not painful. It was not blinding. It was perfect, warm, alive, and yet sharper than any reality I had known. Then I saw him, not as I had imagined from pictures or stories, but as pure presence, strong, gentle, and all-knowing. His eyes pierced my heart, seeing every hidden corner of my soul, every cruel word I had typed online, every promise I had ignored, every judgment I had whispered in secret. He saw it all. I wanted to look away, to hide, but I could not. I was frozen, overwhelmed by love and fear at the same time. The weight of my sins pressed on me like nothing I had ever felt. And yet, there was no condemnation. Not exactly. It was the opposite, a mirror of truth. He spoke not in words, not like we speak, but in understanding. I could hear him in my mind, and it felt like the truth of the universe was being poured directly into my chest. "You have hidden envy, pride, and cruelty," he said. "You have smiled while judging, posted while hurting, prayed without action. Do you see now?" I nodded. I wanted to cry, but there were no tears, only awareness, only unbearable clarity. Every small offense, every tiny unkindness, was magnified, reflected in perfect light, and for the first time, I understood. It was not punishment, it was truth. I had been living a mask. "You tried to hide," he said, "but you cannot hide from me. Not online, not in your heart. Each act of pride, each unspoken insult, each omission of love will be accounted for." Romans 14:12. And then he showed me images of my friends, my classmates, my brother, my family, the people I had hurt, intentionally or unknowingly. I felt their pain. I felt how my envy had spread like poison, how my silence had left a wound in someone's heart, how my judgment had separated me from love I could have given. I wanted to shrink, to vanish, and then his hand reached toward me, not as punishment, but as invitation. "Go back," he said. "Confess, reconcile, love where you have hurt, serve where you have ignored, be honest, not perfect, live what you preach." James 1:22, 1 John 1:9. I understood it all in that moment. The posts, the lies, the silent pride, they were nothing compared to the life I could still live if I obeyed, if I returned, if I humbled myself and faced the people I had wronged. I wanted to stay, to float forever in that clarity and light. But I knew my mission was not finished. I had to return, to confess, to act, to repair what I had broken. And then, the light pulled me back. The hospital sounds returned, the monitors, the alarms, the paramedics, my body, but I carried with me a weight, lighter than any burden I had known. Truth. I had seen Jesus. I had seen my heart, and I had received a command I could never forget. I woke to a world that felt both familiar and alien. My eyes fluttered open to the harsh fluorescent lights of Harborview Medical Center. The scent of antiseptic, mixed with faint coffee from the cafeteria drifting down the hall. Monitors beeped steadily. Tubes and IV lines ran along my arms. My body felt foreign, broken, fragile, alive in a way I had never appreciated before. For a moment I could not remember why I was here. Then it all came flooding back. The accident, the impact, the darkness and the light, the presence, the weight of truth. Tears streamed down my face as I remembered him, Jesus, his eyes, his hand, the command he had given me. I could feel the echoes of his words pulsing through my chest. Confess, reconcile, love, serve, be honest, not perfect. I looked around at my parents who hovered at the edge of my bed, their faces pale with worry. I saw my younger brother, sitting silently, his small hands fidgeting. I wanted to tell them everything. The accident, the 7 minutes I had spent outside of life, the visions, the light, the confrontation with my own heart, but I could barely form the words. I whispered first to myself, in the quiet of the hospital room, I have been jealous, I have hurt people I love, I have hidden my heart, and I cannot hide anymore. Then I turned to my mom. Mom, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you the truth about me. My voice shook, and I could see her confusion deepen, but she nodded, waiting. I confessed my envy of my brother, my judgment of friends, my cruel online comments. I confessed the promise I had broken to pray for my friend. I admitted every hidden resentment, every quiet pride I had carried like a weight on my shoulders. Mom reached out, her hand warm on mine. Grace, thank you for telling me. You are alive. That is what matters. God sees your heart, and He is not done with you. I realized in that moment that the physical pain, the broken bones, the bruises, was nothing compared to the healing I now needed spiritually. I had been given a second chance, a real opportunity to live differently, to act differently, to love where I had withheld love. I promised myself and him that I would not waste this chance, that I would confess openly, reconcile fully, and serve humbly, that I would post honestly, apologize sincerely, and let my faith be lived, not just displayed. The hospital room was quiet, the machines beat, my family breathed around me, and I felt something shift inside, a lightness, a clarity, a burning awareness that my life could truly change. I was still fragile, still broken, still human, but I was awake in more ways than one, and I knew I could never go back to the girl I had been before that day. The first person I reached out to was my best friend, the one I had let down. My hand shook as I called her. I need to apologize, I said, voice trembling. I ignored you when you needed me. I hurt you, and I am so sorry. There was silence on the other end, then a quiet, Grace, I forgive you. I felt a rush of relief I had never known. Months of guilt, hidden jealousy and shame began to lift, piece by piece. Next, I reached out to the boy I had mocked online. I had avoided him, afraid of his anger, but I could not run anymore. I sent a message, openly and humbly. I admitted my cruelty, the sarcastic comments, and the times I had intentionally hurt him online. To my surprise, he responded, not with anger but acknowledgement. Thank you for saying that, he wrote. It means a lot. It hit me then. Reconciliation was not about being liked or absolved. It was about honesty and taking responsibility. I also spoke openly with my family. I admitted my envy toward my brother, my resentment toward my parents, and the pride I had carried silently for years. My brother listened, his face softening, and hugged me. I love you, Grace, he said. We all make mistakes. At school and youth group, I confessed my mistakes, not as a sermon, not to seek pity, but to be accountable. I apologized to peers I had judged or ignored, explained the impact of my words, and listened to their responses. Some were shocked, some cried, some forgave silently, but I felt the release that comes only from truth, not from trying to appear perfect. I stepped back from any roles that gave me influence, realizing humility mattered more than recognition. I focused instead on small, sincere actions, helping quietly, listening, being present, and treating everyone with respect without expectation. Even online, I changed. I deleted cruel comments, sent honest apologies, and shared reflections about my mistakes. I wanted to encourage others to reflect on their own actions, to recognize the harm hidden behind casual words or envy. It was not easy. Old guilt returned sometimes. Fear of judgment lingered. But I reminded myself that growth is a process, not a single act. Every apology, every moment of humility, every honest conversation helped me step closer to the person I wanted to be. Slowly, the hidden weight lifted. The cracks I had carried for months began to close. I felt freer, more aware of my impact on others, and more committed to living truthfully and with care. I realized then that my near-death experience was not just about almost dying. It was about being given a chance to live differently, to face what I had done wrong, and repair it in real human ways. And I knew I could not waste it. Lying in that hospital bed, I realized something that changed everything. Life is fragile, unpredictable, and the moments we waste on pride, envy, or cruelty can leave scars not just on others, but on ourselves. I had lived pretending. I had smiled, posted, volunteered, led, but inside I was judging, hiding, and holding grudges. My near-death experience tore the mask from my face and showed me the truth. Only honesty, humility, and action matter. Only how we treat people, friends, family, even strangers counts in the end. God did not punish me. He revealed the truth. He showed me that my choices matter, that every small act of cruelty or neglect carries weight, and that it is never too late to turn things around. Do not merely listen to the word, and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. James 1:22. Since that day, I have tried to live differently. I speak openly about my mistakes. I apologize sincerely. I treat every interaction as an opportunity to be honest, kind, and humble. I listen more than I speak. I post responsibly, mindful that words online and offline have power. I try to repair the harm I caused, even if it is just a small step. I know I am not perfect. I will stumble. I will fail, but I cannot go back to the person I was, the girl who hid behind appearances, who envied, judged, and ignored the weight of her actions. And here is the truth I want you to hear. Whoever you are watching this, life is short. Words hurt, pride blinds, envy poisons, but honesty heals, humility restores, love redeems. You do not need to wait for a life-threatening moment to see the truth. You can start today. Reach out, apologize, listen, repair, speak with integrity, treat others with care, not for recognition, not for likes, not for approval, but because every small act shapes your life and the lives of others in ways you cannot see. I almost lost my life because of the small hidden darkness I carried, and yet I was given a chance to return, to confess, to act, and to live differently. That chance changed everything. So I ask you, what are you hiding in your heart? What grudges, judgments, or envy do you carry? What masks are you wearing that block truth, love, and honesty? Do not wait. Look at your life, your words, your actions. Make the choice today to be real, to be honest, to repair what is broken. I lived through 7 minutes of death, and I returned to tell the truth. Life is too precious to waste on anything less than honesty, humility, and love. The truth will set you free. John 8:32. Will you choose truth before it is too late? Or will you wait for a moment you cannot return from? I should be dead. 7 minutes, broken bones, blood on the street, but by God's mercy, I survived. A miracle. I was given a second chance, not for me, but to tell the truth. I saw the weight of every cruel comment, every hidden envy, every time I hurt someone online. I cannot go back. I cannot stay silent. Social media is powerful, and words can destroy. God, let me return to warn you. Think before you type. Think before you judge. Think before you post. A single moment can change lives, or end them. So I ask you, have you ever hurt someone online, without even realizing it? Tell me in the comments, are you using your words to build, or to destroy?